Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and I'm delighted to be welcoming Ganesh Rajgopalan ji. We'll have a lot to learn from him. But before I bring him and have you interact with him, the thing that I found quite impressive, right? By the age 10, he had already performed over 100 concerts, but that journey continued in terms of his learning and offering both. And I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming someone whose new offering is in the form of Yugma, and what that Yugma is and what Ganesh Raj Gopalan ji is all about. We'll learn from him. Namaste, welcome.
Namaste, Ji, namaste. How are you?
I
It's
have
so it's so wonderful to meet you after a long time.
absolutely Ganesh ji. So you lived up to your name, Ganesh ji. You are showering blessings of joy by your music. So, if I
Thank
may
you.
request, you might have been asked this question umpteen times, but how was it? Do you think it was some previous birth continuation that at the age 10 you were so expert?
I absolutely feel so because I feel really blessed to have got the gift of music at a young age. My father, when he used to tell me that when I was in my mother's womb, he would sit and play music in at least for 45 minutes every day.
Wow.
So yeah, so that is how he started music for me. So he's the visionary who I should credit because he did lot of tapasya himself by teaching us
I
the
see.
music that he had, the sadhana that we have to put in, that practice, that tapas that we have to do, that is different. But as a teacher also, when you are teaching, it's a huge responsibility, and by sadhana by itself, that he was able to get that music inside us. So I should definitely thank him for that. Seek his blessings always.
Absolutely.
And
And Ganesh ji, violin is not an easy instrument for anybody. And you and your brother both have not only played for so many years, you are internationally recognized for your love for music and for the ability to share it. And you look so young, but as I understand, I understand it has been 4, 5 decades that you have been performing. You didn't stop being a child prodigy. I'll quickly add that you have also collaborated with Ustad Zakir Hussain Saab also, and you have
yes.
been on world tour with him. And so we stop for now about your journey with reference of the band Shakti. Uh, uh, so talk to me about your journey. Like there is so much that I want to learn from you, but reaching to the stage where it is world tour and Ustad Zakir Hussain Saab and so how was the whole process or experience?
No, I think from the beginning, my guru, my dad, always used to tell me that uh, you should be appreciative of whatever music you hear. The first thing is we should not appreciate ourselves. Other people can appreciate that when you play the music, other people will appreciate, but you should be always keeping your ears and eyes open for good music. So always learn from what music has to give you. So that's been our motto in life. So we always keep trying, and we are one thing is one more thing our father taught us is that he said, never fear to go on uncharted territory. You should always be free and very innovative, and try to be creative. So I think that kind of like that kind of teaching helped us a lot.
So I'm kind of curious to learn when you refer to the term uncharted territory, and of course you have demonstrated, but just to be more clear on that, typically when we think about classical music, we have a very well structured pattern or a flow with respect to different ragas and how you would perform. So when you say uncharted territory, what does that mean here?
So these days, what's happened? I mean, over a period of time, this has happened. But when we were younger, we used to play with contact mics and all that, which is not the case with other violin players at that point of time in Chennai in the 80s, and even in the beginning of 90s. So it was like when we started using our contact mics, that was mainly because we were playing with very voluminous instruments like tawil, tawil and nadaswaram, where instruments which are kind of the volume by acoustics, the volume was high. So when we had to play with something like that, we need to have big sound on stage itself. So we had to uh, go to that level of understanding what contact mics are, for what electric violins are, and all that, and then get pickups and then use speakers on stage, monitors on stage. At that point of time, it was very new for classical audiences, the audiences that we generally played for. So those are kind of uncharted. That's one way of looking at it. Another way is because as violin players in Carnatic music, you are like, I mean, unless you accompany some people, you're not even recognized as a Carnatic musician. So in that sense, we were not because we were always as duo. We never had to accompany someone as a vocalist. Generally accompany the vocal artist. So we never had to do it. So we had our stage. Somehow we got into kind of you know in a territory where we didn't have to people just recognized our names and they called us for what we were. So that kind of blessing kind of also gave us a lot of these kind of negative feedback from very very purist kind of only kind of vocalist kind of people. So when we were doing that, we also had different thoughts on how we can present concerts, because we were instrumentalists and not vocalists. So we did things like, when we played together, um, we tried to sound differently rather than sound the same. Because in Carnatic music, they used to say, when you're though you might be playing as two, you should sound as one. But we try to play as two and not as one. So, and also did a lot of these samvadi notes and all that in simultaneously, which some people call harmony. But harmony is a very different understanding. It's an when you talk about harmony in a Western music sense, it's different. From the raga perspective, it's completely different. So we use that part of it as part of the raga and developed it. And also, like when you exchanges, when we did exchanges, like we used to play together and give the exchange part to the percussion players. So these are some of the things that we started doing it, and which were very unique part of our kind of playing. And over so many years of our playing, we also thought that in Carnatic music, we have only compositions which are completely based on lyrics. So we wanted to create compositions which were applied, which are applicable only to instruments, meaning that they didn't have lyrics. So, but give the raga bhava as as it could come out through the violin,
Yeah.
not as a caricature of vocal music. So we try to do those things. So that's why I'm saying uncharted kind of territories.
Ganesh, it's so fascinating to listen to you, and you articulate such subtle ideas so well. Uh, Again, I say there is so much that one would like to hear from you, but let me get to your new album first, because that is what brought us together here. And
Yes, absolutely.
that is called Yugma. And
Yes.
then again, I saw, and we will share part of it, but you are sitting in the middle of all these people who do not look Indian, they are not Indian, and you are radiating the feel of pure Bharatiyata in your attire as well as with your instrument. And yet, when that complete symphony, call it, or the collective rendition is heard, it is mesmerizing. It is out of this world, as they say. And so let's hear a little bit about the journey in the making of Yugma. What was the concept? And let me also add how difficult or easy it is for you to have the semblance with these people who come with different background,
Yes.
different exposure.
So when I composed this, not thinking about the orchestra itself, this Amsadvani composition the whole thing I composed. But when I started playing it, I thought that it had that orchestral effect it was playing in my mind that there's an orchestra behind me, accompanying me, playing with me. So I felt that we have to do something about it, so that I have to see this happening, that sound that I'm hearing should become real, not in my mind, but it should become real. So very, very fortunately, I met this wonderful director and arranger, Maestro Christophe. Christophe Shanard, who also used to live in Seattle at that point of time. So I gave this composition to him and asked him whether he can orchestrate the whole thing. So when I said, okay, when I told him, he wanted to listen to it, and he listened to it, and immediately he got back and said, "This is beautiful. I would love to do something like this," because he was also one who liked Indian music a lot, but not that he knew Indian music, but he loved the aspect of the improvisation and the raga aspect, the tala aspect of Indian music. So he immediately said, "Why should we should do it? Definitely." So and one more added advantage is that he's also the founder of the Northwest Symphonietta. So he said, we can do it with the orchestra," and he was the one who arranged for the orchestra. So and then he sent me a MIDI file of the arrangement, and he made me listen to it. That itself sounded so good, like I was listening to the real sound of all those instruments there in the MIDI file. And we had just about on that day we sat for about two times of rehearsals, and the third time we recorded it.
So now, since you mentioned earlier about having the independent identity of music beyond words, uh, in a different expression,
Yes,
if I
that's
use
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
beyond words. Yeah.
yeah. So, but in general, the impression is that the closest, call it mimicking the singing instrument, that is violin. So you can get a feel of someone singing through violin. That is, and here when you talk about
That is
having.
what I call Devigam.
Mhm.
I'll see we what it means is the language of this music is the language of the gods. You know why I'm saying it? So we have, as humans, we have a mother tongue, right? That's mother tongue. Maybe your mother tongue is Hindi, my mother tongue is Tamil and Telugu, whatever. And there is something called Deva Bhasha, right? But if you see all our gods, Saraswati has a veena,
Yes,
Krishna has a flute,
yes,
right? Shiva is a dhamaru.
yes.
All these gods have instruments and they speak through the instruments. So I feel that when Saraswati Devi, Ma Saraswati plays something, she is speaking the language of the gods, like, she's speaking through her veena. And Krishna, when he plays the flute, it's a godly language. So I feel that there is a connection to that and the music that we play. That is why we think the music is divine, because it's the language of the divine. And that's why we say, when when we hear some music, it feels like joy. Sometimes it's sublime, it's sometimes melancholic, sometimes it's ecstasy, sometimes you feel crying. The crying is it's bliss, actually. That's why we cry. The music is so good that we end up um, playing with our tears,
So,
emotional tears.
Ganesh, we are envious to you, because the bliss that you are referring to, it is not written for everyone to experience it, and you have experienced it with so many people at different concerts, and our viewers are getting a glimpse of some of the stage concerts that you have played. And
Thank you.
with
Yeah.
that, I come back to my question relates to Yugma's conceiving of Yugma. So you said the music that you heard. Now, how, if you may walk us through this inner creative journey of getting to this composition, or and again taking your what you said, something which was in my mind. So a little bit of
Yeah, you know what? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, when we're all tuned to, when we say composition, we never think about as a music as a piece of composition. We always think as a song. We always say it is a song. That's a composition. So I always, it was like sometimes I was like, flabbergasted as to how when we play an instrument, some of the music that we play, it's kinds of, you just, after playing that, I have felt so many times that I have to stop, because that gives me a chill, like that gives me so much pleasure that I have to just stop and not play, because I want to experience that moment, that moment. So those kind of moments are when compositions are brought up. I mean, come inside and kind of, what do you say? It manifests itself, the compositions. So when you play composition, when you play something, it's all sometimes in the mind, sometimes it's when you play. You don't know when it's coming. Compositions are always like, you you don't know when it is coming. For me, I have experienced it this way. When I want to sit and compose, it's much more difficult than when it comes automatically, because when I play, there most of the time I end up creating something. But when I want to create something, it's kind of difficult, because so many ideas comes inside you. You don't know what actually would, I mean, what actually I would want to call it a composition. So I think that is how that composition itself came about. And when it started, when it sounds like some big orchestra playing in behind me, with me, when I'm playing the main stuff. And this alapana that you hear, that was a last minute addition, actually. Just before the recording was going to happen, and we decided that we'll include an alapana before the composition. I told Christopher about this, and he said, and I told him, if you can, or I mean, if you can arrange it, just give them just shruti kind of thing for me, just the tonic and the fifth.
so
That's
with your permission, let's hear maybe just the initial 2-3 minutes of it before we continue. Let our viewers get a feel of the wonderful gift.
Oh yeah, sure.
So for now, I'm kind of taking it away because I will also mention that those viewers who are in love of music, they are fortunate. If you type on your YouTube channel Yugma Ganesh Rajgopalan, you will get a chance to hear the whole of it. So please continue. Overall, the joy of creating it. And is there any story that you feel silently or wordlessly being conveyed, or it is just a story of joy and ecstasy?
Okay, so this is also like what you can call as the Independence Day gift of music. Like, because when we were thinking about something that can be tangible, like, and when we say it's a celebration of the independence, that comes to the mind, and it's also the sacrifices that people have, all our freedom fighters have given, um, sacrifices they have done for the country for us to be independent and free. So it's an homage to them, it's a tribute to them. And not only that, and also to all the people who have taken forward our country to this level of growth and happiness. And also think about those people who are not so much endured, like people who don't have much. Even for them, music is a joy always. So we try to create that kind of celebration of all diversity and the unity we have, and that is what music is all about. That a united language of India is music. So that's
So,
the that is that we can talk about that also as a theme. Because one part where there's poignant music, I immediately after i i I changed the raga from Hamsadvani to Shuddha Sarang and play poignant stuff, to actually pay tribute to all those people who have laid down their lives or lost something or given something. It need not be that you have to lose your life to actually sacrifice. There's so many people who have sacrificed their wealth, their families, and time, their youth, their everything, like to give us the freedom that we enjoy today.
Ganeshji, I think you are a wonderful person, and when I say that, it's not just a compliment, it's the way I feel it. When I say wonderful, I mean you are so generous in sharing, and there is so much wealth of experience that you bring. But allow me to ask you, you are so much in love with Bharat, one can feel that. And there is a meditative quality in your music also. Now, once you have uprooted yourself from the land of Bharat to Seattle, how it is to stay in tune to the kind of focus which was imparted by your father while you were a child? Is there something, how this harmony comes about with you and this new setting?
I don't feel any change. I'll tell you our history. So, our legacy goes about many, many years back, because my great grandfather was invited by the Kochi Maharaja to Kerala. So he's to propagate music. So he was there to codify the Kathakali music at that point of time. So he's a very big pioneer at that point of time. His name was Tripunatra Harihara Bhagavatar. Even my oldest uncle, and he's no more, but his children are all playing violin, and they are in Kerala even now. And then they're doing very well. Um, It is from my oldest uncle that my father learned music. So that is also there. So why I'm saying this is we have this legacy of music continuously from very, very long time. So that that has actually helped us uh, to be where we are in a certain way. I was born in Kanpur. I was in Delhi. I was in Bombay. I was in Chennai for a long time. Then I came to Seattle now. So all these places are one thing. Yes, you get attached to places that you live, but it's the whole of me is everywhere, and it's because of music that that emotional bonding that happens between me, my music, and also the listeners and all those patrons who have been helping me in whatever I do.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, Ganeshji, I would extend my pronouns to you at this point for now, and I will underline the line that the whole of me is everywhere. And when you are everywhere, then everybody is related to you, and our viewers have also related to you. But there is so much that I wanted them to learn about you, and probably we'll have more conversations. We will talk about Swar Yoga and the temple of music and the other ways in which you have extended this inner. Kindness, compassion, creativity, and especially probably very soon I will request you to talk about Swar Yoga
Sure,
in
sure.
another session because this International Day of Yoga is also also coming. So,
Yeah, it's also coming. Yes, yes. And
but
that's also the World Music Day. World
uh,
Music Day, World Yoga Day are on the same day. I mean, and music is also part of one form of yoga. And that is why I want to call whatever I do, the interactive meditation part, as Swari Yoga, because it's a union. Through music, you can create that union with the godliness. Yes, true.
so we will talk to Ganeshji again, and I thank him and thank all of you. And once again, I repeat, Yugma Ganesh Rajgopalan on YouTube. Check it out, and don't miss it. It is there, a gift waiting
Thank
for
you
you.
so much, Ashok ji.
Thank you
And
very
also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ganesh
absolutely.
Rajgopalan. You will love all the videos that I have done there.
No doubt about
And
it. Thank you.